We was kind of like saying, I bet, like, watch they end up taking Shedeur. And it happened.
They might have messed up and accidentally got probably one of the better rushing attacks in the league. Some people think Shedeur Sanders is a shoo-in to be the starter for the Browns, while other people think that he's going to be cut. Regardless, whoever's going to be starting for the Browns is going to be really being able to take advantage of an opportune elite rookie duo backfield. And for Shedeur Sanders, we've seen the last 2 years of Colorado. We've documented one of this last year of Colorado and their abysmal run game, one that was leading and being awful, the bottom of the league in multiple categories, whether it's average yards, rushing percentage, everything else in there, everything else in between. So if Shedeur Sanders does, however you feel about that, it would be undoubtedly the best running backs that he has played with in his entire football career. So let's talk about Quinshon Judkins, SEC legend and Big Ten legend, college football legend, and then Dylan Sampson, a bell cow in the SEC and somebody who was the entire offense for that Nico Amaleva, or I'm going to leave you, however you feel you call him. He was the real cowbell into that offense. But let's get right into it with the bromance between these two running backs here. And I just love it, right? I want to talk about it because I want to talk about the overall, right? The overall understanding of how these young guys are starting to bond. I've said this in multiple videos that I really feel like this is a team that, you know, this is a team, or sorry, rather a rookie class for the Browns that just feels different. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't followed a lot of Browns rookie classes. I'm gonna be real with you. I got Texans on the hat. I got Georgia Tech. I only wear Georgia Tech stuff because what's it called? My cousin went to school in Atlanta. I went to school in Atlanta. I live in in the Atlanta area. I don't want to dox myself too much. So don't look into that too much. But I got Texan stuff on. So yeah, I've never ever watched a rookie draft class for the Browns, but I have to say they seem to be gelling. Like, for as much as people try to make it Dylan Gabriel versus Shedeur, they don't seem to be like they're having a good time. Look how he instantly smiled. That's not like some resentment. That's like some hilarious. Get on Shedeur. And then let's talk about, speaking of Shedeur, right? Like, it seems like they've already. He's funny. Like, they just smiling, but they got Kendrick in the background. He gonna come in, kick my dough down. I don't want UMG do nothing to me. But no, like, you can see that there's a camaraderie built, and I think it's not as much as we give credit to Shedeur, and I think he's great, and as much as I give credit to Dylan Gabriel, I think he's great. I think it's coming from these two running backs. So I'm about to read off some stats. I'm about to get into some tangible things about some things, but I do want to say before we get into that, both Dylan Sampson and Quinshon Judkins are adding personality. They're I feel like making the transition for these quarterbacks even smoother, and for these rookies as a whole, I feel like they're being sponges in a lot of different ways as well, in a good possible way. So let's start with Quinshon Judkins. Undoubtedly, I want you to understand, undoubtedly an SEC legend. So obviously in Ole Miss, he was out there with Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss complainers. I'm sorry. Look, Lane Kiffin has just been complaining too much. I got to call y'all that until y'all win something of reason, right? Quinshon Judkins at 18 years old, his freshman year in the SEC, he just, in a split backfield, I want you to understand that, 275 attempts, 1,567 yards, 16 touchdowns. In 2022, Judkins was the only running back in college football to hit these markers: 75+ missed tackles forced, 90+ first downs. He accomplished this as a true freshman on less than 50% of Ole Miss's rushing attempts. So I'm not even going to talk about them winning a national championship and embarrassing my horn, son. We're not going to talk about it, okay? In this particular video, we're not, or we are going to talk about it, but we're not going to talk about that just yet. Just on the SEC days, just freshman and sophomore years were years that were historic in the world of the SEC. So for the freshman year, CBS National Freshman of the Year, Conley Trophy winner, On3 National Offensive True Freshman of the Year, Sean Alexander Freshman National Freshman of the Year finalist, Doak Walker semifinalist, PFF Honorable Mention All-American, Freshman All-American, First Team True Freshman All-American, Consensus First Team, All SEC, SEC Newcomer of the Year, SEC Freshman of the Year, second Rebel to ever earn the award alongside Laquan Treadwell. Please, if you don't know about Laquan Treadwell, that boy was going crazy in SEC. Sophomore year, the stats do go down the sophomore year. Again, this is a split backfield. He just happens to, he only goes for 1,100 yards instead of 1,500 yards and one less touchdown. Again, splitting carries. And then in that year, in the sophomore year, into the portal, obviously, but earned first team all SEC, tabbed second team all SEC. I don't know how you do both. Started all 13 games, rushed for 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns, tallied the second straight 1,000-yard rushing season, also hauled in 22 catches for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns, tied his own all-purpose single-season touchdown record. The 271 carries were second most in a season second most in the season by any spot, any player to his 274. So he left Ole Miss historic, like filling up the Ole Miss stats, being historic in the SEC. And then, of course, you go to the career, tied with Deuce McAllister for Ole Miss all-time record in career 100-yard games of 14, since second in career rushing yards at Ole Miss with 31, third on Ole Miss's career leaderboard in rushing yards, and ranks second all-time with 34 all-purpose touchdowns, third for Ole Miss career records with 545 attempts. And then, of course, he happens to drop his carries down by almost 80 touches. He takes 80 less touches. His average per touch goes up. He only loses 1 touchdown, and his long goes up. He's only getting better. He's only getting better. He's going to be a dog. Like I want y'all to know, and again, the best thing about Quinshon Judkins and the best thing about Dylan Sampson, I think, is each other. Is the fact that neither of these running backs are going to be, even though, you want them to be that, you want one of these guys to be the alpha, but y'all both on rookie deals. Y'all, for the first 2 years, y'all ain't competing for no extra money. Y'all just auditioning, trying to help the team for those first 2 years. Now we get in the third year, then we get into, player option year. You know what I'm saying? It gets a little different. People might want some touches, but for 2 years, you've probably got the most unselfish and possibly explosive running back room in all of the NFL if things pan out correctly. Because as much as we love Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery, right? Somebody gonna have, you know what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? At some point, right? Montgomery's older. Jahmyr is due for a big payday. Something's got to give. You feel me? So that's what that is. So like you win in a lot of different advantages just off of each other. And then on top of that, like I was alluding to, the pressure is off because, like, dog, hey, you want him to be great. You want each other to both be 50-50. And Quinshon has not only been able to do that at Ole Miss, he also did that at Ohio State, obviously, when we looked at the carries, but he did that with a high-level running back. So not only does Quinshon Judkins know how to split carries and make the best and make the most value with them, right? He also knows how to do it with a high-level back who's also going to be productive. It's not going to make him feel no type of way. So I think that for as much as the quarterbacks have been the large talk of the Browns, I think this is one of the better running back situations in all of NFL. I got to be honest with you. When you talk about from all angles, right? I'm not saying they're the most talented. We haven't even seen them play XYZ. But you talk about scenario, you get 2 top-tier SEC running backs on rookie contracts. Let's see. You know what I'm saying? Like, worst case scenario, they're mid. Oh, no. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty cheap or a low price to pay for mid running back play. Obviously, it's hard to replace Nick Chubb, though. So let's hear from Not Jadego. This is a quick little a snippet there on May 15th. This is dated.
Quinshon Judkins is Nick Chubb. Cleveland clearly has a type, with Judkins checking it at 6 foot, 221 pounds, ran a 4.48 40 time at the combine, and benched 225 pounds 24 times in front of everyone. He had 16 touchdowns in all 3 collegiate seasons, not to mention 290-plus touches at 19 and 20 years old. Again, a short, explosive running back, heavy one. This is just Nick Chubb all over again.
Nick Chubb all over again. Now, I do think comparing somebody to Nick Chubb is probably not the best thing, right? It's probably not the best way to set somebody up for unlofty expectations. I don't know how the expectations get any less loftier than that, but I think that what we're looking at is the build, right? The style, the way that he can be implemented, right? He's no stranger to catching out the backfield. Although he's not the catching running back, he is no stranger to catching out of the backfield. So, the versatility is going to be there. Both of these guys, I would coin in old school NFL as an every down back, right? Like I feel like you used to have every down backs. Adrian Peterson is the first one to come to mind, right? Even though he wasn't the best catcher out the backfield, but you know what I'm saying? Matt Forte, every down back, right? He can do it between the tackles. He can do it, and he's an elite catching running back. I mean, he reformed what the NFL looks at when you talk about what the standard for being a receiving running back is. Matt Forte completely changed it and kind of redefined that position there as well. So I think he's going to have enough there to really be versatile enough to help out his teammates. So a few more stats here. We have Quinshon Judkins is the only running back other than Adrian Peterson, Ryan Williams, and Nick Chubb. So Nick Chubb is popping up everywhere, right? To post 1,500 plus rushing yards, 15 plus touchdowns as a freshman and get drafted round 1 or 2, penny draft capital. Also, the first running back in combine history to post an 11-inch or 11-foot, I think 11-foot plus broad jump at 220 plus pounds. Dang, he carries 220. Hey, I don't know if you young, what y'all say, Pauls or whatever. He carries 220. Nice. This is a good looking 220. All right. Some people will be fading him. They're talking about. Hey, I want to give y'all a little before I go with the Dylan Sampson side. A small little cheat sheet. If you want to know real deal, stats. Like you don't look for PFF, don't look for Stat Nerds, don't look for Brett Collerman, even though I love Brett Collerman. That's not what you want. You want to find the fantasy football players. These motherfuckers be going in depth, dog. They're real scouts. Anyway, let's get into Dylan Sampson's side. And actually, we're gonna start with Dylan Sampson speaking on Shedeur, because when I talked about it at the beginning of the videos, I said both Quinshon and Dylan Sampson are doing a big thing by allowing themselves to, I might have said sponge, but like really take some of the pressure off of. There's a lot of pressure. You remember Mason Graham with the whole throwing up? People were trying to get on him about that. Obviously, the Shedeur and the Dylan Gabriel thing, that's a whole crazy hullabaloo. So it feels like there are not just, and obviously Dylan, I think Harold Fanning kind of falls into this Dylan Sampson role where they're not just like have no less pressure, but almost less media pressure. And they're not just taking that and being whatever. It seems like they're being friends with Shedeur. They're being friends with Dylan. He is going to answer this question and take some heat off of Shedeur right when a rookie OTA started, right?
I can tell real humble. It was crazy because he got drafted after me, and we was kind of like saying, I bet, like, watch they end up taking Shedeur. And it happened. So, I really just feel like it's a competition everywhere, Dylan Gabriel's a good quarterback. It's good to have, rookies, together because we're working for the same thing, pushing each other at the same time. So, like, it's competition that we're not alone in this.
Interesting, right? So, again, I think that's very specific. They were just asking him about Shedeur and the fact that he went out of his way to say, humble, by the way, not humbled, but he is a humble person. You can tell the type of person he is, XYZ. Now, the type of person Dylan Sampson is not just a great person, someone who I think is going to be a good teammate, but he can play some foosball too. Here he is. That dot right over here is Dylan Sampson is overall the most balanced between both positive run percent metrics. So this is the 2025 drafted running back effectiveness running inside versus outside. Now, they ran, if I'm not mistaken, they ran a lot of different run concepts at Tennessee. I'm not gonna stick my foot in my mouth here, but for me, it was an exciting run game, not only because he was so much, or the run game was so much of the offense, but I do think for as much as I try to throw shade at Josh Heupel not making great NFL quarterbacks, I think he makes phenomenal offenses, especially at the collegiate level, but those are two different things. We don't have to get into it. Anyway, here he is way over here, Dylan Sampson, being able to run your inside zones, outside zones. He can get your stretches done. He can get your duos done. He can hit your gap scheme. All that fun Dylan Sampson is about it. And that's what I mean by, when we talk about completeness, right? Is and utility, right? These aren't just dudes that they put a lot of stats up. These are guys who have been proven statistically to be able to do a lot of different things for a team that's going to be replacing Nick Chubb. You gonna need as many bells and whistles as you can get. So more dynasty dad. Told you got it. They got the stats, but so Dylan Sampson pairs perfectly with Quinshon Judkins. Apparently, he agrees with me. He says Judkins as a change of pace back with potential to grow, creates yards beyond blocking, advanced read patience, impressive contact balance. 929 of his 1491 yards are after contact last season. Absolutely nasty. Oh, whoa, we can't play all that. And again, he has no problem catching out the backfield. Quinshon Judkins has no problem catching out of the backfield. Neither of these guys are receiving backs, but I do think that he's got a lot going on. So again, and we talk about doing it against, people talk about talent level, who you playing against. Obviously with Quinshon, you ain't got to worry about it. It was SEC, and then, he played Texas, right? They handled us. With Dylan Sampson, obviously he's still SEC as well, but more importantly, what do you do against an Alabama team that, although didn't have the best year last year, the defense was probably the strongest suit of it, right? 26 carries, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5.3 yards per carry. Sampson only had 2 games below 100 yards the entire regular season, and one of those was 92 yards. He was the second running backs the Browns drafted. And then here, and I was kind of like poking at this, right? Utility, right? I don't think Dylan Sampson is a receiving back. I don't think Quinshon Judkins is a receiving back. That does not mean they can't be a receiver. So even when you talk about, and we're going to read this article, I know it looks awful. Don't worry, I'm going to read it to you. So you ain't got to look at it. I might put some gameplay because I didn't know it's going to look this bad, but I'm going to read it. I think it's important to know that when you already see things like this, if you already see people understanding how this pairing is going to be, right? And people are super comfortable, kind of pairing that and making these guys a reality and what they are. I think you have to be excited as a Browns fan to look at this in totality, right? And see what it can become. So they want Dylan Sampson to be a receiving threat. So again, this is just a, what's it called? This is from Cleveland.com. And it says, in college, Sampson wasn't much of a receiving threat. Like I said, he caught 40 passes for 342 yards in 3 seasons at Tennessee. But according to data from Pro Football Focus, he lined up in the slot or out wide just 12 times last season and 13 times the season before. Sampson indicated at rookie minicamp that it wasn't a case of not being able to put more, but of not being asked to in college. And he says, something that I wasn't able to showcase a lot at Tennessee, he said, but I feel like I was able to showcase what could be at my pro days and at the NFL Combine. Anytime I could run routes, I ran routes. Running backs coach Shedeur Staley mentioned during last week's minicamp during Sampson as a dual threat option, being able to show him as a running back and a receiver, Staley said. Also, meetings with wide receivers coach Chad O'Shaw says in there and going over some of the receiver splits and routes and just being able to just take his game and expand it. The Browns' remade passing game will rely on their tight ends, David Njoku and Harold Fannin Jr., and their running backs. That means Sampson and fellow rookie Quinshon Judkins, along with Jerome Ford, will need to be real pass-catching threats. Dylan is able to go play in the slot, and also he's able to go play on third down and maybe sprinkle in a little second down, Staley said. I'm not saying Judkins can't play on third down, but I'm looking at what we can do with Dylan as far as the receiver, and we'll be able to do a little something with Judkins as a receiver too. So I bring all these things up, right? I bring all these thought processes up to really hammer home the point that not only can I look at just, I like these two running backs. These are 2 running backs I just liked watching in college, right? So not only is it just, I like these guys, they're going to be good together, but you can clearly see now their coaches are instituting a plan to get that done, right? These are both capable catchers of the ball. Okay, well, let's see how capable you are. And the fact that the conversation is not who's running back 1 or running back 2, and, maybe that's more of an old school, mentality, right? It's less of that and like, hey, he's going to be the third down back. Hey, I'm going to put you in the slot. Hey, I'm going to utilize you like David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, where they are a 1-2, but at sometimes it's Montgomery and Jahmyr. It might be Jameer in the back and Montgomery out there. You know what I'm saying? Like vice versa, right? Jameer might be out lined up as a receiver on some of the plays. He might come out like there's so many different ways that if you're going to be an exciting offense, which I think with these two running backs, the Browns can be, that you can attack it. So I'm excited to see how they attack it. I really do think the Browns are in a really good situation. I know what people want to be like, oh my God, they messed up. They might have messed up and accidentally got probably one of the better rushing attacks in the league. I don't know about the quarterback room, but this is some good stuff. But y'all let me know down below in the comments, how do you feel about the Browns setup right now? Do you think the running game is going to improve? Do you think it's going to be where it needs to be? Is it going to be great, amazing, mid? You let me know down below in the comments. I really appreciate you rocking with me and watching this. Like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't like it. Subscribe if you enjoy football content of all shapes, sizes, forms, and fashions. Really appreciate you. Continue to be great. We'll see you next time. Peace.